How are we doing, guys? We are back with the post-match live reaction. Guys, we've got to start off with just the last video. We've just took that video down, to be honest, guys, because there were some comments on that video that were totally unacceptable, to be honest, and doesn't represent what this channel's all about. It did cause a bit of a pile-on. We can only apologise for that, guys. I do wish I'd handled it a bit differently, but again, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. I can only apologise, guys, but we've took the video down. It's something we totally don't agree with on the channel. So we'll start from there, guys. We'll start from there. Just wanted to acknowledge it, guys. Didn't want to just pretend it didn't happen. It happened. It shouldn't have happened. Apologies for that, guys.
Yeah. And I just don't want to. Yeah, we're not about that. And yeah, you know, there was a bit of a pile on, etc., in the comments and stuff, and we don't want anyone to feel ostracized or anything like that. So yeah, cool.
Yeah, we had to acknowledge it. We had to acknowledge it. I mean, let's go into it anyway. Obviously, we've lost the game 4-2, but ultimately, it's not quite as bad as what it sounds. You know, it's one of those ones where you look at and think at half time, obviously start of the second half, we go 4-0 down. You're thinking, oh, blimey, this is going to get nasty. This is going to get nasty. But you know what? We showed a bit of fight, didn't we, mate? And you know what? On another day, we get the penalty at 4-2.
Yeah.
You know, at 4-3, it turns into a bit of a different game. But it's just one of those. It's just one of those things, isn't it? It's one of those things. But 4-2 looks better than 4-0, doesn't it, mate?
Yeah, exactly, mate. You bang on the money. Listen, we knew, I think, even if we go right back to the start of the game, just line-up-wise, you know, KP's missing, always a massive loss. We've lost 4 out of 5 Premier League games now where Calvin has been missing. The only one win coming against Aston Villa, which you could arguably say was a forced change due to Strauch's early yellow card. And so really, you know, that we just need someone who is adequate and able enough to cover Calvin when he's not in the squad, because he's a glaring miss without him actually being a glaring miss, if that makes sense. It's no coincidence that we're carved open and cut open so many times when he's not there. Now, whether or not you can lay that blame at Strauch, I'm not so sure, but it's no coincidence that when he's not in the game, we lose. But I think just starting, you know, on the stream ourselves, we said it, Arsenal set up fantastically. He got a group of very good, you know, ball players in the likes of Saka, in the likes of Emile Smith-Rowe and Odegaard alongside Aubameyang. And regardless of what you think of Aubameyang form-wise this season, that guy knows where the back of the net is. And they pressed us, and they pressed us high. They did a Leeds, bro. They did a Leeds. From minute 1, Meslier could not release that ball anywhere at times. You know, it was a great decision made by
They probably looked at the last couple of games where Meslier, look, he hasn't made a direct mistake, but maybe you go back to that Tottenham game when they pressed, where I think it was Son pressed Meslier at the last minute, and it felt like every single goal kick, even before the mistake was made, they were kind of pressing Meslier on every goal kick. And I've got to say, and though obviously we had Lee Gunner on at half time, we had Lee Gunner on before the game, but if Arsenal play like that in most games against teams below the kind of the top 6, in terms of the quality they've got, you know, with a Thomas Partey, Kieran Tierney in there, I don't understand why they don't play out every week. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. You play West Brom. You think, how on earth does this Arsenal team struggle to beat Aston Villa? No disrespect to Aston Villa. We know how good they are. But if they played like that against Aston Villa, pressed every goal kick, you know, played in our half of the pitch and just dominated the midfield, they'd beat everyone outside the top 6. You know what I mean? Obviously, when you're playing against a City or a Liverpool who can just play through you, you know, you've got obviously John Stones, your Fernandinho's, your Rodri's, who can just play through that kind of pressure. But it was just, that's the thing, mate. I think there's a combination of factors. It wasn't just we were terrible first half. I think you've got to give, they were good. They were really good that first half. They targeted that right-hand side, no doubt about it, in the first year. They wanted to test Shackleton out. I didn't actually think, to be honest, Shackleton did that badly. I don't think it was necessarily. I think you look at the goals. I think obviously the first one, I think it's on Ayling, to be honest, and Meslier. The second one's totally on Meslier, and the third one is just as a unit. It's just the third goal. That's the worst goal of letting all season for me. In terms of, as a collective, it just can't happen at any level, really. It's, I mean, you look at Bayern's just literally walked into our box and it's 3-0, but Man, we just give ourselves sometimes in these games, a bit like the 6-2 game against Man United. It's probably the most similar game we've had to that. But we were actually good today in spells. It wasn't quite a 6-2, but we just give ourselves too much to do again.
I don't think we were good in the first half, me personally. Anyway,
no,
really,
no, of course, the first half was,
and that's props to Arteta. I mean, I don't think Bielsa and Leeds United were prepared for that. It wasn't a situation that, I don't know if Arsenal have played like that before, but it was a definite change from that FA Cup game and the game at Ellen Road. He put some very good players in there, and they pressed from the front, and we just couldn't get out. I just want to shout out Tashencher85, who says, "Cheers, guys, for all your content. It's helped my mental health a lot. Your watch-alongs are infinitely superior to the clueless, biased commentators. Really, really thankful for that super chat, and just for your support. That's what we do it for." But yeah, I agree with Adam a little bit. His distribution can be bang on, but when the passes aren't clear and they're not available, he does tend to chip it out to the wings, and we get pressed and we lose the ball. And we said before, for me, Melié's made mistakes this season, but today he had a bit of a stinker, didn't he? Especially in that first half, mate.
Yeah, I think as Adam was saying then, I think teams will do that now. You're not telling me Wolves won't have, their centre forward or Neto sort of standing on Meslier. It's going to be the target, and we've just got to work out a way around that. It's not the first time teams are trying to kind of spot weaknesses, and we've found solutions. We've found solutions. Look, today, I know Arsenal missed some chances later on to make it 5. There was a period in that game where they probably could have made it 5. They obviously Aubameyang hit the bar, but it's just the nature of the league. Every chance we gave up in that first half, they scored from. I'm not going to say they were lucky to be 3-0 up. We were terrible in that first half. There's no doubt about that. And ironically, we were just better when Roberts came on. I thought that was Roberts' best game in the Leeds shirt, probably since Hull, to be honest. I'd probably go that far back. I'm not trying to use that against Tyler Roberts, but I thought he genuinely was very, very good when he came on. He sets up that second goal. But yeah, look, it's a concern that, we've let in 4 goals. I think we've been I've praised this back line last couple of games because I think it's done really well. I think we've limited what Melié's had to do in terms of shot stopping. Ultimately today, the shots they've had on target. I mean, I bet you I've not even looked, but I bet you the stats aren't that bad in terms of, I reckon we probably will have had probably about the same amount of shots, the same amount of possession. I just think Arsenal were just that little bit more effective than us in both boxes, really. You look at that chance later on where we could have made it 4-3. Luiz just gets across. I just thought they were better in both boxes than us today. Aubameyang gets himself 3 goals. And ultimately, you can't tell me Arsenal will be satisfied that second half. You can't tell me Arsenal felt totally comfortable at 4-2 and they're like, it wasn't going to be a complete...
Well, we've seen that, mate. I mean, he brought on Rob Holding, he brought on El Neni. You know what I mean? He was trying to shut up shop towards the end. Just back to their first goal, obviously, Aubameyang, comes back. He gets himself a hat-trick. That first goal, I think if you dial it back, it could have easily come from Melié's distribution right before Xhaka picks out Aubameyang. Ayling backs off Aubameyang far too much for me, and he hits it. It goes through bodies, but Melié's got to do 10 times better from that save low down to his right, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, it's got to. It feels like he's expecting it to go far post, like a crossing kind of thing. Yeah. Aubameyang's going to try and pick out the postage stamp, but he doesn't catch it well for me, Aubameyang. I'm not going to say Aubameyang's awful. I'm not going to say it at all. He's destroyed us today, but that was probably like his poorest finish of the lot, to be fair. He just didn't catch it very well. And Meslier, he makes those saves, and any goalkeeper who makes that error, you're going to call out. And unfortunately, it's a mistake that you don't really associate with Meslier. He doesn't really get caught out on a lot of those kind of... That's probably the only time this season where I can think of where Melié's been done on his near post, or, the ball's gone underneath his arm. I can't think of any other... The last time I think I can remember it happening to Meslier was against Cardiff. You remember that game where we lost 2-0? He had that shot early doors. I think it's Hoylett, I think. That first game back we had, and it was awful. Meslier, that was probably the only time I can think where a shot's come straight at him and he's just kind of gone under his arm. I mean, it happens. It does happen. It's part and parcel of the game. But I just think Meslier, in terms of the second half, he did make a couple of saves in the second half, but he just worry at that point. He's made 3 big mistakes for the goals. Is it going to play on his mind? Is he going to be able to recover from that?
I don't like
Kieran, second half.
Kieran said too many mistakes now from him. I think over the course of the season, he's well got chips in the bank. Just wasn't his day-to-day. Yeah, he has made mistakes in other games and sometimes, but I think he's a brilliant keeper and will go on to have a great career in the game at Leeds United. And I think he'll turn up at France soon enough. You know, he's only 21. Let's not forget this. You know, his distribution was a bit shaky, but I put that down a lot to, especially in that first half. You know, our man Chris said maybe we're giving him a bit too much credit, but I thought Arsenal were brilliant in the first half. We had maybe one chance. I think Rafinha tries to create an opening. I know you at the time said he probably should have a go. Instead, he leaves it off to Harrison. Harrison on the half turn straight into Leno, and it was all Arsenal. I think you know. And I felt a bit sorry for Patrick Bamford as well today, you know, like he was really tough. The way that the space in between the two centre-backs, the way Xhaka kept dropping in, and he was just chasing shadows, man. He was chasing shadows at times for me. So, yeah, all right, Melia's 20. Sorry, I got it wrong. But, yeah, It was a tough day at the office for us, especially in that first half, mate. And like you said on the stream, it was like Piggy in the middle at times.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And it's how they set up, you know. They had Leno. How many touches did he have in that first half? He was spraying it left, spraying it right. And he looked really, like, you know, typical German goalkeeper, you could say. You know, there's so many keepers. That's, you know, that's the way the coach, you know, in terms of compared to, like, say, Meslier, who's maybe not quite as used to that, but he's got it in his locker. Let's not forget Meslier last season in the Championship when he came in. I was thinking, wow, with the ball at his feet, he looks special. But obviously, this league, you get pressed a little bit more. It's a bit more difficult to, you know, play those lofted passes into the fullbacks like you'd like to try and play. But I don't know. Just thought in that first half, it was a bit of everything. You know, it was a bit of everything. Yeah. They were clinical. Their clinicality was on point.
Yeah, definitely.
Should we say? And it definitely was. And we
were saying, weren't we? You know, we could tell by the start, and when they go 1-up, we're just saying, look, listen, if we can get it to 0-0 at half time, 1-0 at half time, that'd be a massive result. But it wasn't to be. I think we even knew there was chances just before. I think at 1-0 where Ailey makes a brilliant block from Aubameyang after David Luiz has just ran straight into the box, bounces Cooper off him, or it might have been Click. So they were dangerous in that first half, and I think, you know, you could have arguably said as well that. I know a lot of people saying if the Bamford one's not a penalty, then the Saka one, and they were pretty similar. I think the only difference for me is Bamford's been crowded out by two players. Saka's more or less already on the way down. But I thought it was a penalty in real time, if I'm being honest. But we get away with that. And then, obviously, there's two goals not long after. I mean, you'll have to take us through, mate, because as you know, my stream went off.
You were lucky, to be fair. Oh,
yeah.
My word. I mean, the Meslier one on the second goal, I mean, it's just one of those things. If he gets past Saka, you probably say, oh, good bit of composure there, good bit of composure. It's just such a tight, thin margin. And if you make the mistake, which he did, to be fair, he dawdled too long. He telegraphed it really for Saka. But the problem is, it's not so much he lost the ball to Saka. He goes in to try and make up for his mistake rather than stay on his feet. Because, to be fair, Saka gets the ball. It's weird how it happens, really, because Saka's still away from goal. So he's still got that split second where he has to turn to get a shot off, but where Meslier can kind of get back in position. But Meslier, he just wants to make amends straight away, and he goes diving in, takes Saka out. Bit lucky, you could argue that it could have been a red because it's obviously last man, but I know obviously the rules have changed a bit. I think, you know, a couple of years ago that probably would have been a straight red, but gets a yellow. Great penalty off Aubameyang, you know, into the side netting, and you just can't give up those chances. You know, we get away. For me, I still think we got away with that Saka and Cooper one a little bit because I don't understand VAR. VAR says, okay, you can overrule a refereeing decision if it's a clear and obvious error. Now, even if you don't think that's a penalty, it's not clearly and obviously not a penalty. If I'm being totally trying to be as objective as I can, it's not clear and obvious to me. So I'm not sure how VAR works. That's my big question for today. You know, how they didn't pull back the Bamford one at 4-3. I don't understand. Whether they're trying to make up for that mistake they made on Saka, I don't know. Either way, it balanced itself out. I can't complain too much. The third goal, you know, it starts from the right-hand side, our right-hand side. 2 or 3 players going across to the same ball.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal have got about their whole team in the box. I had to check if Leno was in the box at the time because you see Bellerin. Bellerin's playing like a second striker. He's walked into our 6-yard box. Never mind the 18-yard box. I think the 6-yard box he's walked into.
Saka does some great work. Saka, he's given too much time. I mean, Aubameyang picks out Ceballos. Ceballos nutmegs Click. I seen it described on Twitter as Benny Hill style defending. It was woeful. And then, of course, when Bellerin takes the shot, he actually nutmegs. I think Meslier on the way in. Three terrible goals really to give away.
Yeah, I think that one's the worst we conceded all season. Probably the worst we conceded under Bielsa, to be honest, because when Arsenal messed it up initially. That's the thing. Arsenal initially messed it up where I thought, oh, they've overplayed that. But then we stayed deep. We didn't push back out, try and get ourselves out of the box. We stayed penned in and Click's basically still in his own box. It gets met like Click should do so much better. It's not, I'll be honest, I don't want to sound salty, but I genuinely don't think it was that great a pass from Ceballos. It shouldn't get through. It's not like got the perfect weight to it. Bellerin still had a lot to do with it. But look, I'm not going to have a go at Ceballos, but that shouldn't happen from our point of view. Arsenal, like match of the day tonight, they'll pick up on two things. They'll say it's terrible Leeds defending, but they'll also say it's a great goal from Arsenal. So whichever way you want to look at it, it's just such a disappointing goal to let in, especially when at 1-0, we were almost there at half time. We were about 2 or 3 minutes from half time, and then you go in at 3 down, and that's the problem sometimes. We have got that tendency to when we do concede one, maybe not so much the last couple of weeks, but when we do concede one, it does tend to become 2 or 3. We didn't see it against Leicester. Against Leicester, bang, straight back at him 2 minutes later. But then Tottenham, your Man Uniteds, your Palaces, Leicesters, whichever ones. We're going to have it all season, though.
Yeah.
I'm not being funny. Right. You compare the two teams. You compare who came on for both teams. Niall Huggins made his debut today. Niall Huggins, I thought, showed some really good character when he came on. I didn't see loads of him, but he showed character. He showed battle. That was a tough situation to come on in, really tough. It was a big up to him. Big up to him. Obviously, he wasn't part of that Crawley game. So big up to him. Fair play. He took his chance in a much tougher game, by the way. So, big up to Niall Huggins. But yeah, you just look at it, and even at 4-2, I was kind of thinking, this will either be like... I didn't think it'd finish at 4-2. Put it this way, when we made it 4-2 with half an hour to go, I thought this will be 5, this will be 6, or this will be 4-4. I did not see it finishing like at that point as a 4-2 game. But I mean, look, you look at the two teams, really, logistically, that is the kind of result you expect. Arsenal to win the game by 2 goals or 3 goals or whatever. It's just the way it is, unfortunately.
I agree with you, man. I mean, listen, we said that, like, when we seen the lineup with how strong that basically Arteta had gone with, I think props need to go to him, to be honest, because he really switched it up from an Arsenal perspective, and we didn't see that, and didn't see it coming. I thought Saka was great for them. He's a great player, and obviously, Aubameyang scoring as he did, and half time, obviously changes are made. Harrison and Click coming off. By all accounts, Bielsa's come out and said Click's poorly, but said he was okay to play, so that might have an impact. But look, if he's good enough to play 45 minutes and says he is, if he's not, then he shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? So that's up to him. But obviously, Costa and Roberts came on, and say what you want. I know Costa's scored a goal, and some maybe feel like I've got an agenda. I'm not sure, but ultimately, what's he doing for the 4th goal, mate? Like, he gets himself caught. We knew Arsenal were pressing. He should have known better. Maybe the pass is on to Shaq. Just tries to dribble out of the situation. Obviously, he gets dispossessed. And I think it's a good... I've heard Souness saying that Smith Rose was a shot, but it definitely looked like a pass to me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cross.
Yeah, beautiful cross for Aubameyang. And makes it 4. And at that stage, bro, I genuinely was worried we were going to end up with 4, 5, 6,
Totally. You look at the subs coming on before, and they're going to change the game. But I'll give credit, to be fair. It was a great finish off Costa, to be fair. He took the chance well. I don't really think he did anything else of note when he came on in that kind of respect. I thought it was Roberts who made the big impacts, really, on the game. I know, obviously, Costa, giving credit, he got the goal. He made a couple of runs after that.
Do you think there's a case for Roberts to get a starting berth now?
Possibly. I'm not sure if you can just go off one game, because let's not forget, you come on at 4-0 or 3-0. It is easy and it's hard to come on at that stage, but sometimes it can be easier because the expectations are so low. It's almost like I come on at 3-0 down, I'm not going to get the blame for this kind of thing. So you kind of say it in that respect. But big up Tyler Roberts. Tyler Roberts was superb when he came on. He makes the goal, good creativity, dribbled the ball. I thought he gave Xhaka a bit of a nightmare in that last sort of half an hour, to be honest. And it's so much so, Arsenal made that change. Holding came on, almost went to like kind of a back three for that last sort of 5 or 10 minutes. And what I'll say, look, there was something there with Costa in terms of he did start to run in behind a little bit more, but I didn't see enough of him taking on his fullback. He was up against Cedric Suarez, who's not a left back, and that, it was probably. Look, I'm not going to start saying Costa was brilliant, but there was something a little bit there when he scored. You saw a little bit of a buzz. In terms of him making those runs he made against Liverpool, it just didn't quite come to fruition today. But look, if he does that again, good sign. But not enough to start the next game. No chance. Roberts maybe, Costa no, not yet.
Costa, I agree. Look, he took his goal really well. Obviously, we'll go back to the first one, guys. Virgil van Strauch was back. What a header that was. He absolutely left David Luiz in his wake and smashed it in the back of the net to make it 4-1. Great to see because, he could have had a hat-trick of headers in the last time out against Palace. So it was good to see him getting on the score sheet. I do want to see him back at centre-back, don't get me wrong. So hopefully KP's fit and ready for Friday, but it could be touch and go. If that was the case, would you want to switch it up and maybe go with how people are saying, maybe try click there, I don't know, Huggins, Jenkins, Shackleton?
I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because you look at it and you say, there's no perfect solution. As John was saying yesterday, there's no solution that you put a player in there who gives you the influence of KP. It just can't happen. It's probably one of those positions in the pitch where it just can't happen. I did say when Stewart gets the next one, he puts it in the back of the net. And that's the most difficult one of the lot, That one he did score. Most difficult one of the lot. Great delivery off Rafinha. One slight positive is I got some fancy football points from Rafinha getting another assist. I'll take the positives. Take the positives when you can. It's a hard one, isn't it? In terms of who plays in there. Stewart, probably his poorest game in that position. I thought he was pretty terrible, to be honest, in that position. He just didn't look comfortable. I think Oscar really just caused absolute havoc, didn't he? Him and Smith Rowe. What I found for me, Arsenal, the last two games, and every single time I've seen Arsenal play, they've never played that on the front foot for me. They've never seen them play that on the front foot. It was like almost like a Wenger team, that Arsenal team, that first half. They were just passing, moving. You got Smith Rowe drifting in and out. It was hard. It was our man-to-man marking system. It was the case of, I don't think people knew who to pick up at times. You saw David Luiz sometimes be the free man, waltzing into our box. And as you said, David Luiz is good at that, but it's like the David Luiz of 10 years ago. It's not the David Luiz who's 35, 36 now. That probably shouldn't be happening, but it did. And look, it was a really, really tough one for us there. I'm just glad that Partey and Tierney weren't there, to be honest, because that's it could have possibly got nasty if that had happened, but it didn't. And
definitely,
KP back in next game is a different match. Wolves is a totally different. Trying to guess what's going to happen against Wolves entirely depends on that press conference at this stage for me. But if KP is out, I'm thinking, who's you put in?
Exactly.
I just don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I don't know. I'd like to see maybe Tyler get a start. I know not in that role, but maybe we can move things around that way. Maybe get Pascal back at centre back. Obviously, Helder Costa took his goal well. The subs combining Tyler and Costa. Obviously, Bamford has a penalty shout as well at 4-3 at the time in the game. Maybe we can go on and get some. But big shout out, really, to be fair, to the substitutes, all of them as well. I know Costa, and I gave him a bit of stick, and he made an error, but he scored a goal, and that's what more can you ask for? Huggins came in and played absolutely everywhere. I genuinely didn't know what he was playing. Yeah, he was everywhere. He had a good game, and Tyler's, he's give give himself no qualms about. Nice one, Shawnee T. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, mate. Michael Probert said maybe instead of Click, and that could be a case as well. Listen, when I am supporting Click, I'm not saying he shouldn't be dropped. What I am saying is when people say he's not good enough, I don't agree with that comment. But there is a case for Tyler to start getting some starting minutes now. But at the same time, Tyler is brought on in games to carry the ball when we're struggling to pass the ball about. He can carry the ball and put us into dangerous areas, and that's why Bielsa uses him in that vein. Starting from 90, we might not see the same effects. But yeah, look, it was disappointing, man. It's disappointing, but this is where we're at as a club. This is where we're at, Look at the, we don't have the squad depth. We're all tongue in cheek. We're talking about Europe and that. And listen, if we beat Wolves and Southampton, I'll be back on it. But we know where we're at. I do think we'll finish top 10. This is a great Arsenal side, regardless of form. The lineup for me was special today. I thought he'd done really well. And I thought Shabaka, that's Ceballos and Xhaka combined together.
What are you talking about?
Shabaka. No, but I thought Xhaka was good today, bro. I thought Xhaka was really good today. So props to him, because I said we would dominate Xhaka and Ceballos. We didn't. And the reason we weren't even allowed to was because the press from Arsenal from the front was exceptional in that first half. Genuinely, they did not give us a minute, man. So props to him. I think this is a good shout as well from Liam Dyke. Like, I know we've gone on and said that the subs did well, but you mentioned it on the stream. Where's Pablo?
That's the frustration for me. Yeah, it's and look, I'm not saying Pablo would have rescued the game, but you look at him and think, in terms of, look, it's harder to say this now because Costa scored. Robert's got an assist. It's hard to say this now, and it feels like I'm just dismissing what Costa did on the pitch. Fair play, got himself a goal, showed a bit of hunger. Obviously, the fourth goal he needs to take responsibility for as well. But I look at Pablo and thinking, what does Pablo have to do to get time off the bench? In terms of he's not. You look at it and say he's only really had a 10-minute cameo against Everton. He came on for a bit against Tottenham. Came on for a bit against Brighton. He's not really had that chance, and it feels a shame to me. And I know. Look, we're looking at Pablo now, but it's easy to forget that a couple of months ago he was coming on against Newcastle and getting. I know the second assist is a bit questionable for Harrison, but got 2 assists in 8 minutes last season. After lockdown last season, I thought it was the best version of Pablo I've ever seen. I think, with the level, every game, stepping up every single game. I just think to myself now that in terms of the midfield, when you look at Click, obviously look at Roberts and that lot, in terms of the creativity side of things, I still think Pablo is probably the most creative of the lot. But in terms of work rate off the ball, general energy, general fitness, general pace, stamina, all these things you look at in a midfielder, he's probably towards the bottom. But I still think in terms of creativity, if you want one of those midfielders to get you a goal, create a chance, it's still probably Pablo for me. In terms of the midfield, central midfield. I know obviously Rafinha, Harris and Bamford, that has to say it is for me.
Yeah.
Rest of the season, that is absolutely superb. That is the best front three for me in this kind of area of the table. In terms of the bottom half, mid-table, it's the best for me in terms of goals and creativity. But when you're chasing a game, I would like to see more Pablo. I would like to see, and if it's based on performances, how many chances did Roberts has? Costa, in terms of, I'm just thinking to myself, what Pablo's done for this football club in terms of getting us to this level. He's not really seeing the pitch much. That's the only disappointment. But look, I'm not going to question Bielsa on that. I'm just
no.
Bielsa knows best. I don't see training. None of us see training. Maybe something did happen after. Obviously Pablo showed that little bit of frustration, but I think John had it spot on yesterday. With Pablo, you're getting 110%. He just wants to prove himself at this level. It just feels maybe my heart's ruling my head here. Maybe my heart is ruling my head.
Because look,
like Pablo's done so much for this club. It naturally does. I remember Liverpool fans. Some of my mates, Liverpool fans, are saying before Klopp kind of came in, saying we need to get Gerrard back. We need to get Xabi Alonso back. It's natural because we haven't really had a club legend who's carried the team for such a long time. And then you have someone like Pablo. it strikes different, if you know what I mean. It's not like, say, for example, when Pontus left, he didn't really achieve anything at the club, kind of thing. And that's it, right decision, kind of thing. But with Pablo, it probably will turn out to be the right decision, but it strikes that bit differently, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate, and it's a real surprise to see like even Huggins coming on, you know what I mean, ahead of him and all this sort of stuff. So here's what it is, though. Maybe
totally
Chris is right.
Chris. Okay. I'm totally doing nostalgic, mate, but I don't know. I've never really seen this club have a proper club legend who's actually achieved something, and you'll be the same, Joe, in terms of something tangible you can look back on. I'm not talking about they got us to 4th in the Premier League and this, that. I'm talking about a trophy, silverware, a season you can look back on. Yeah. Where that Champions 20 shirt I've got at home. Pablo was the player of the season in that season. It's hard. It's just
4 years on the road, bro. 4 years on the trot. Let's not forget that. But we all miss him. But ultimately, I think maybe his time's gone now, which is a shame. But yeah, look, I think we lost the game 4-2. Not great. I thought Robertson, Huggins did well. I thought we were much better in the second half. Rafinha continued to want to win the game, always getting involved. Virgil van Strauch, or maybe Pascal Jones at CDM, but going forward, he got himself a header. That's nice. But let's get him back at centre back.
At CDM.
Hey?
Pascal O'Kane at CDM today.
Yeah, that's a good shout. But we move on now, guys. It's a quick turnaround as well. A new show starting Tuesday as well. So look out for that. An all-female show. So we're really excited to be able to bring that to the channel. So that's starting on Tuesday. We've got a fans post-match tomorrow where we can go through the Arsenal game in a little bit more depth. We've also got your player rating a little bit later on tonight. I think at 8 o'clock.
I'll get your voting, guys. I've not done the tweet yet, but it will be up as soon as we come off air. It will be up. So get your ratings in. I've got to echo this off Chris. For me, if Calvin's back, I don't see why not. I think Wolves about Jimenez. Don't forget, Wolves last time they had Jimenez on the pitch. All these other players. I'm not sure Jota might have even played that game, if I remember rightly. But they had the big guns out in that game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough game, don't get me wrong, but if KP's in the team, if KP played today, you could make a case for us possibly getting something out of that, as daft as it sounds. We probably don't fall to pieces like we did in that first half. So, it's not too much of a concern, this one.
No, exactly. Move on now. We can get maximum points from Wolves and Southampton. These things happen. This is where we're at. But, that's it from me. Anything more to add, Oscar?
You've just seen off Grant there saying Bielsa said he was unsure when Phillips is back. Obviously, that's a blow. I think as Chris says, Chris is always London. One word, London. Yeah,
it is. But it happened to Josh last night. It happened to us.
London. Yeah. London. It's just, I don't know. Do you think just before we finish, mate? Do you think it is genuinely now when we do make that coach trip down to London? The players in there. Do you think they genuinely think about it? Because I don't know about you.
It can't, bro. Because some of them, I'll tell you for why. Because some of them weren't here 4 years ago.
No,
Do you know what I mean? Rafinha. If they say to Rafinha, we have one down there for it. Rodrigo, all these players, Stroud. Some of them weren't here 4 years ago. It's irrelevant to them. It is anyway. There's no way they're going into that game. It's just us with the fans. It's frustrating. I don't know what it is, but. Listen, there's some good sides in London.
Yeah, you've got Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, West Ham to start off with. It's not easy.
If we were to just play Premier League teams now, it could go on for another couple of years because the teams in London are good. So it is what it is. And look, it is what it is. It's not a real thing, is it? We will beat it eventually, and we'll celebrate it like kings. But as it stands.
Like when they play, it's going to sound mad, this comparison. When they play like golf and they say they're playing a particular course and there's a hole I really don't like say on the early drive and that lot, I'm thinking, I always knob this into the trees. Always do that. I always pull it that side. It does sometimes. You kind of think to yourself, not this hole. You know, even when you're playing really well, it's just like, not this all, because it's all going to fall apart here. I don't know. Look, it's a crazy comparison, but I don't know if it does possibly play on the minds. It'd be interesting for the psychologists, that one. But probably there's probably a little bit on both sides. I would have said professional footballers, you're playing in London, just get over it kind of thing. You know, do the business. But or if you're Neil Warnock, you kind of link it to the referees, don't you? I don't know if you've seen that Warnock documentary. We're in London, aren't we? We're in London, aren't we? I'm saying now. That lot. But Chris likes the comparison. At least someone likes the comparison.
I'm telling you, will you get out of Chris's ass?
So that does. Yeah, it does seem like I've got a bit of an obsession there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, man. Chris and Oscar, man, what's going down here? I'm getting pushed out here. I'm getting sick of this. I'm getting jealous.
this is good off TD5. Oh man, it's L for lose, O for optimistic, M for no win here. That's a bit long. You got to keep it to like one word, but we'll forget it. We'll leave it. Yeah. And then D for don't even think about winning there. O for O. It's not quite how it works, mate.
No. It's a good goal, though. It's a good goal. Good goal. But yeah, mate, that's it from me, bro. I'm gonna go have a bath. I'm gonna go chill out. It's Valentine's. We'll put the film on. Mrs. making us nice tea together and go chill out and forget about it. You've got your player ratings to do. We'll be back Monday, man. These things happen. Move on now.
We'll leave it there anyway. We'll leave it there. Stay positive, guys. Wolves come. We're going to be back. We'll be back. Don't worry, guys. Right, we'll end it there.